Have you ever heard of the phantom backpack syndrome? Some people who have lost a limb report still feeling its presence, as if it were still there. The same happens with our regrets. Often, we carry a burden that in reality no longer exists. Invisible backpacks, the burdens of the past such as poor decisions, unsaid words, missed opportunities, mistakes made or accumulated, weighing on our shoulders as we try to move forward. For many of us, these burdens become a silent prison, an endless cycle of regret and self-criticism that prevents us from fully living in the present. But imagine for a moment that you could let go of this load. Imagine there is a way to transform these emotional scars into wisdom, to convert the weight of the past into fuel for growth. Sounds impossible? It's not. And that's exactly what we'll explore together on this journey. What would happen if, for an instant, you truly let go of this burden? Close your eyes and imagine throwing this backpack into a river. See it being carried away by the current, dissolving like ink in water. Your past cannot pull you back if you decide to let it go now. If this exercise resonated with you, wait until you discover how time doesn't erase our memories, but can reframe them. Why this matters to you. Before we dive into the content, ask yourself, how much time in your life have you spent dwelling on what could have been different? Maybe it was a conversation that ended badly, a job you let slip away, or a choice that seemed wrong at the time. These repetitive thoughts not only consume your mental energy, but also rob you of the ability to enjoy the here and now. I know because I've been there. I found myself trapped in a whirlwind of what-ifs and should-haves, questioning every decision I made. But over time, I learned something powerful. The past doesn't have to be a burden. It can be a teacher. And today, I want to share with you the tools that help me transform this perspective. What great minds teach us about letting go. To understand how we can let go of the past, we need to look at some of the oldest and wisest philosophies of humanity. They offer valuable insights into dealing with impermanence, change, and suffering. Stoicism and the power of mental rewriting. The Stoics believe that we can reprogram our memories not in the sense of forgetting them, but of changing our interpretation of them. Stoic philosophers taught that it is not external events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The life of man is what his thoughts make it." This means that the past only has power over us as long as we allow it to occupy space in our minds. Imagine your past as a book, and you are the author. What if, instead of a chapter of failure, you rewrote your story as a narrative of overcoming? Every mistake made becomes a lesson. Every pain endured a testament to resilience. You may not control what happened, but you can choose how to tell this story to yourself. And what if I told you that your mind might be playing tricks on you, and that your memories might not be as accurate as you imagine? Let's explore that now. In Buddhism, the idea of impermanence is central. Everything changes, nothing remains the same. When we accept this truth, we begin to see the past not as an anchor, but as a wave that has already dissipated in the ocean of time. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, reminds us that water flows easily because it does not resist the path. Similarly, when we stop resisting the inevitable changes of life, we find inner peace. These philosophies are not just distant theories. They can be applied directly to our daily lives. Throughout this journey, we will explore how these universal principles can help you overcome fears, cultivate emotional resilience, and embrace the present with more lightness. This is not a monologue. It's a conversation. I want you to actively engage with the content, share your reflections, experiences, and ask questions. At the end of each topic, I will propose a challenge or experiment for you to test these concepts in your daily life. For example, here's an initial question to reflect on. What is the biggest regret you carry with you? How does it affect your life today? If you're ready to take the first step toward emotional freedom, I invite you to continue this journey with me. In the next topic, we will explore in detail the invisible chains of the past, freeing yourself from the weight of guilt. There, we will uncover how the past binds us and, more importantly, how we can free ourselves. The great illusion of time. Is the past really behind us? Quantum physicists suggest that time may not be linear. Some experiments show that subatomic particles can influence the past based on what happens in the future. If time is more flexible than we imagine, is our past really fixed? And if what we call memory is just a reflection of the present, perhaps what matters is not what happened, but how we choose to see it now. If this seems confusing, wait until you see how the brain edits your memories without you noticing. The invisible chains of the past, freeing yourself from the weight of guilt. There are prisons that have no bars but are as suffocating as any. The past, when burdened with regrets, becomes an invisible chain, heavy and cold, tightening around the soul. You walk, but you don't move forward. Every painful memory, every wrong decision, every unsaid word all entwine like a tight knot in your chest, whispering that it could have been different, that it should have been better. But what if, instead of carrying this burden, you let it go? Guilt is a complex and deeply human emotion. It arises when we realize that our actions, or inactions, have caused harm to ourselves or others. However, guilt does not need to be a permanent weight. When mismanaged, it becomes an emotional prison, preventing us from moving forward. The Stoics teach us that it is not external events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. This means that the true weight of guilt is not in what happened, but in the meaning we assign to these events. If we continue to interpret the past as something irreparable or insufficient, we remain trapped in a cycle of self-criticism. Buddhism complements this view by emphasizing the impermanence of all things. Remember, what was done is done. We cannot change the past, but we can change how we relate to it. The key to freeing yourself from guilt is to accept what happened, learn from it, and finally, let it go. Anna was a young executive who always prided herself on her dedication to work. However, after years of professional success, she realized she had neglected her personal relationships. One day, she received the news that her grandmother, with whom she had a close relationship in childhood, had passed away. Anna was devastated, consumed by guilt for not having spent more time with such an important figure in her life. For months, she carried this weight until she decided to seek help. In therapy, she learned to recognize that guilt would not bring her grandmother back, but that she could transform this pain into something positive. Anna began writing letters to her grandmother, expressing everything she wished she had said. These letters became a healing ritual, allowing her to process her emotions and find peace. Today, Anna uses this experience to prioritize her relationships, understanding that the present is the only moment that truly matters. She still misses her grandmother, but guilt no longer imprisons her. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Mark Twain. This quote reminds us that forgiveness of ourselves and others is an act of liberation. It is the choice to transform something painful into something beautiful. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions honestly. What are the main sources of guilt you carry with you? List them. How do these feelings of guilt affect your life today? Do they influence your decisions, relationships, or self-esteem? Choose one of these sources of guilt and write a letter to yourself or the person involved. Express everything you feel without judgment. Then burn or tear up the letter as a symbol of release. If you experienced any relief while reflecting on these questions, share your experience in the comments. You are not alone in this journey. Many of us carry similar burdens, and together we can find the strength to let them go. Comment below on the biggest lesson you took from this exercise. If you prefer, tag someone who might also benefit from this reflection. You have just taken an important step toward emotional freedom. By recognizing and letting go of the invisible chains of the past, you are creating space for a lighter and more meaningful life. In the next topic, we will explore scars that tell stories, transforming pain into wisdom. There we will delve into the power of emotional scars and learn how they can become sources of strength and resilience. Scars that tell stories, transforming pain into wisdom. Every scar is a vestige of a battle fought. Some are visible, drawn on the skin like maps of storms weathered. Others, however, are invisible, marked on the heart, hidden in silences, in distant gazes, in nights when sleep never comes. But what would a warrior be without their scars? Have you ever tried looking at your marks with different eyes? Instead of seeing them as signs of failure, what if you saw them as silent trophies of your journey? Every pain you've endured has left something valuable in you. Resilience, learning, strength. You are not who you were yesterday, and that is a gift. Emotional scars are inevitable marks of life. They arise when we go through difficult experiences, losses, traumas, mistakes, rejections. However, they do not need to be just reminders of pain. They can be symbols of transformation. Buddhism teaches us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. This means we can choose how to interpret our scars. Instead of seeing them as failures, we can recognize them as essential parts of our story, as lessons that have shaped who we are today. Taoism complements this view by emphasizing the concept of wu wei, or non-action. It is not about inaction, but about flowing with the events of life without resistance. When we accept our scars, we allow them to become sources of wisdom rather than obstacles. Lucas's journey. Lucas was a young entrepreneur who faced a devastating bankruptcy at the age of 30. He had invested all his savings in a business that ultimately failed, leaving him deeply shaken. For months, he isolated himself, feeling like a failure. But over time, Lucas began to see his experience in a new light. He realized that although the failure was painful, it also taught him invaluable lessons about financial management, leadership, and resilience. Today, he uses these lessons to help other entrepreneurs avoid the same mistakes. When asked about his past, Lucas smiles and says, "My scars are my greatest teachers. They showed me that I am stronger than I thought. What does not kill me makes me stronger." Friedrich Nietzsche. This quote reflects the idea that difficulties can be opportunities in disguise. They test us, but also prepare us for new challenges. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions. What are the emotional scars you carry with you? List them. What has each of them taught you? What skills or qualities have you developed because of them? Choose one of these scars and write a letter to yourself, thanking yourself for the learning. Use phrases like, "Because of this experience, I learned," or "Today, I am stronger because." If you found any value in this exercise, share your reflection in the comments. Remember, your scars do not define who you are, but they can shape who you will become. Comment below on a lesson you took from a difficult experience. How did it contribute to your personal journey? You have just taken another step toward personal transformation. By recognizing the value of your scars, you are learning to reframe the past and use it as a tool for growth. In the next topic, we will explore self-love, the key to healing emotional wounds. There, we will delve into the power of self-forgiveness and self-love as essential keys to healing emotional wounds. Self-love, the key to healing emotional wounds. How many times have you wished you could go back in time to redo choices, change words, avoid pains, to close your eyes and wake up in a past where there was still time to act differently? But time, that impassive traveler, never takes steps backward. It moves forward, indifferent to our regrets, leaving only memories in its wake. What if, instead of trying to go back, you chose to start over? The weight of self-criticism. Self-criticism is one of the heaviest chains we carry. It arises when we judge ourselves harshly for mistakes made or opportunities missed. The problem is not recognizing our flaws. That is human, but turning these flaws into a negative narrative about who we are. Stoic teachings remind us that we cannot control the past, but we can control how we respond to it. This means that although we cannot change what happened, we can choose how we relate to ourselves today. Self-love is not selfishness. It is the conscious practice of treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and respect. Buddhism complements this view by emphasizing the importance of self-compassion. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we create space for emotional healing and inner peace. Claire's transformation. Claire was a woman who always put others' needs before her own. She worked too much, said yes to everything, and rarely reserved time for herself. Over time, she began to feel a deep emptiness, as if her life was being lived for others, but never for herself. One day, after an emotional breakdown, Claire decided to seek help. In therapy, she learned the importance of self-love. She started small daily practices, writing 3 positive qualities about herself every morning, reserving at least 30 minutes a day for activities that made her happy. and saying no without guilt when necessary. Today, Claire not only feels lighter, but also realizes that by taking care of herself, she has become a better person for others. She understands that loving herself is not selfishness, but a way to ensure she has the energy to share with the world. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. This quote reminds us that self-love is not something we need to earn, but something we already deserve simply by existing. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions. What are the main criticisms you make of yourself? List them. How do these criticisms impact your self-esteem and daily decisions? Choose one of these criticisms and rewrite it as a positive affirmation. Example: I am imperfect, but I am learning and growing every day. Additionally, try this daily practice. Every day when you wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and say one positive phrase about yourself. It can be something simple, like I am worthy of love and respect, or I am doing my best, and that is enough. If you notice any change in your perspective while practicing these reflections, share your experience in the comments. Remember, self-love is a muscle that needs to be exercised daily. Comment below on a positive phrase you would like to repeat to yourself every day. Tag someone who might also benefit from this practice. You have just taken another step toward personal transformation. By embracing self-love, you are building a solid foundation to face life's challenges with more confidence and lightness. In the next topic, we will explore letting go to fly, the power of complete release. There, we will delve into the power of completely letting go of what no longer serves us and opening space for new beginnings. Letting go to fly, the power of complete release. There are pains that linger, like shadows that stretch at dusk. They are in no hurry to leave, whispering in your ear that they still belong to your present. But have you ever stopped to think, how long will you carry the weight of what no longer exists? The past may have left marks, but it has already breathed its last. Now, it's your turn to breathe deeply and move on. The strength of letting go. Letting go is not forgetting. It is recognizing that something existed, that it hurt, that it left a mark, but that it does not need to continue occupying space in your life. The teachings of Taoism remind us that water flows easily because it does not resist the path. Similarly, when we stop resisting the inevitable changes of life, we find inner peace. Positive psychology complements this view by emphasizing the importance of human flourishing. When we choose to let go of what no longer serves us, we create space for new possibilities, new connections, and new learnings. Letting go is not weakness. It is an act of courage and wisdom. The symbolic power of letting go. The balloon ritual. There is an ancient ritual practiced in various cultures to symbolize the act of letting go of the past, writing an emotional burden on a piece of paper and burning it, or releasing it inside a balloon that floats away into the sky. Your subconscious understands symbols better than words. When you make a physical gesture to represent something internal, your mind accepts this change more easily. So, why not give it a try? Take a piece of paper, write down what you want to let go of, and destroy it, tear it, burn it, or let the wind take it away. See how this impacts your heart. Now that you have learned to let go, are you ready for something even more powerful? Transforming your scars into wisdom. Let's do this. Matthew's transformation. Matthew is a man who always felt trapped by the past. He held grudges against former colleagues, regrets over poorly made decisions, and resentments from relationships that ended badly. These feelings weighed so heavily on him that he began to have trouble even sleeping. One day, after a deep conversation with a friend, Matthew realized he was holding a balloon full of painful memories. The more he squeezed, the heavier it became. So, he decided to do something different. He wrote down all his resentments on pieces of paper and put them in a real balloon. In an open field, he released the balloon and watched it float away until it disappeared into the sky. This symbolic gesture was the beginning of a transformation. Matthew realized that by letting go of what no longer served him, he could finally breathe freely. Today, he lives with more lightness, focused on the present and the opportunities that arise each day. To fly, you must first let go of the ground. Unknown author. This quote reminds us that personal growth requires letting go of what holds us back. Only then can we reach new heights. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions. What are the main emotional burdens you still carry with you? List them. How do these burdens affect your life today? Do they influence your decisions, relationships, or happiness? Choose one of these burdens and visualize it as a balloon. Imagine yourself letting go of this balloon and watching it float away until it disappears into the sky. How do you feel afterward? Additionally, try this daily practice. Before going to bed, take 5 minutes to reflect on what you can let go of from the day that has passed. Say to yourself, I let go of everything that no longer serves me. I open space for the new. If you feel any relief while performing this exercise, share your experience in the comments. Remember, letting go is not easy, but it is liberating. Comment below on something you recently decided to let go of. How did this impact your life? Tag someone who might also benefit from this practice. You have just taken another step toward personal transformation. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you are creating space for new opportunities and growth. In the next topic, we will explore Reborn from the Ashes, when forgiveness becomes the key to freedom. There, we will delve into the power of forgiveness as an essential tool for healing emotional wounds and building a life of freedom. Reborn from the ashes, when forgiveness becomes the key to freedom. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is on fire. Our certainties, our dreams, our hopes all seem consumed by an invisible blaze. What remains are ashes, scattered by the wind, carrying the vestiges of what once was. But at the heart of this chaos lies a powerful truth. From the ashes, something new can emerge. Forgiveness is the spark that reignites the flame of freedom. It does not erase the past, but transforms its narrative. It does not heal wounds, but teaches us to live with them. And, most importantly, it frees us from the prisons we build for ourselves. The transformative power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is more than an act. It is a conscious choice to let go of what binds us. Stoic teachings remind us that we cannot control what has happened, but we can control how we respond to it. This means that forgiveness is not about justifying the wrong, but about releasing the weight it imposes on us. Buddhism complements this view by emphasizing the importance of non-attachment. When we forgive, we stop clinging to pain and create space for inner peace. Taoism, on the other hand, reminds us that water flows easily because it does not resist the path. Similarly, when we stop resisting the inevitable changes of life, we find freedom. Sophia's journey. Sophia was a woman who carried a deep resentment. Her father had abandoned the family when she was a child, leaving indelible marks on her heart. For years, she harbored resentments, blaming him for all the difficulties she faced in life. One day, after a conversation with a close friend, Sophia realized she was trapped in a narrative that no longer served her. She decided to write a letter to her father, not to send it, but to express everything she felt. In the written words, she found clarity. For the first time, she saw her father not as a villain, but as a flawed human being, just like herself. This act of forgiveness did not change the past, but it changed Sophia. She realized that by forgiving, she was freeing herself from emotional chains. Today, she lives with more lightness, focused on the present and the possibilities of the future. Forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened. It is about remembering without pain. Unknown author. This quote reminds us that forgiveness does not erase the past, but transforms how we relate to it. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions. What are the main resentments or hurts you still carry with you? List them. How do these hurts impact your life today? Do they influence your decisions, relationships, or happiness? Choose one of these hurts and write a letter to the person involved, or to yourself, if applicable. Express everything you feel without judgment. Then, reread the letter and ask yourself, how would I feel if I let go of this pain? Additionally, try this daily practice. Before going to bed, take 5 minutes to reflect on something you can forgive, whether it's someone else or yourself. Say to yourself, I choose to let go of this pain. I choose freedom. your turn to act. If you feel any relief while performing this exercise, share your experience in the comments. Remember, forgiveness is not easy, but it is liberating. Comment below on something you recently decided to forgive. How did this impact your life? Tag someone who might also benefit from this practice. You have just taken another step toward personal transformation. By embracing forgiveness, you are creating space for new beginnings and growth. In the next topic, we will explore living a life of freedom, gratitude, presence, and acceptance. There, we will delve into the power of gratitude and presence as essential tools for living fully in the present. Living a life of freedom, gratitude, presence, and acceptance. Imagine waking up every day with a sense of lightness, as if the weight of the world could no longer reach you. Imagine living each moment fully, without being a prisoner of the past or a hostage to worries about the future. This is the essence of freedom, and it begins when we choose to cultivate gratitude, presence, and acceptance. Freedom is not something we find out there. It is born within us. It is a daily choice, a commitment to see the world with new eyes, even when it seems chaotic. And by embracing these three pillars, gratitude, presence, and acceptance, you can transform your life into a journey of peace and purpose. The pillars of freedom. 1. Gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to dissatisfaction. When we focus on what we have rather than what is lacking, we begin to see the richness that already exists in our lives. Buddhism teaches that gratitude is the key to opening the doors of happiness. It connects us to the present and helps us recognize the value of the little things. 2. Presence. The human mind has a natural tendency to wander to the past or the future. However, the only moment that truly exists is the now. Positive psychology highlights that living in the present increases our well-being and reduces stress. As the Stoics say, the present is the only time over which we have control. 3. Acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means recognizing reality as it is, without resistance. Taoism reminds us that water flows easily because it does not resist the path. Similarly, when we accept what we cannot change, we create space for growth and transformation. Sam's journey. Sam was a man who always lived on autopilot. He worked too much, slept too little, and barely paused to appreciate life's small joys. One day, after an emotional breakdown, he decided to take a pause and reflect on his priorities. He started practicing gratitude. Every day before bed, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, it was difficult. He was so used to focusing on what was lacking that he barely noticed what he had. But over time, he realized there was much more beauty in his life than he imagined. Then, he began practicing mindfulness. During meals, he turned off his phone and paid attention to the flavors and textures of the food. During walks, he observed the trees, the sky, the sound of birds. Gradually, he learned to live in the present. Finally, Sam embraced acceptance. Instead of fighting against situations he couldn't control, he began to tell himself, "This is what it is. How can I respond constructively?" This shift in perspective brought peace to his mind and allowed him to face challenges with more clarity. Today, Sam lives with more lightness, focused on what truly matters. He understands that freedom is not about escaping problems, but about choosing how to respond to them. Freedom is what you do with what has been done to you. Jean-Paul Sartre. This quote reminds us that, although we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can choose how we respond. This choice is the essence of true freedom. Now it's your turn. Answer the following questions. What is the biggest regret you carry? How does it affect your life today? If you could rewrite the narrative of your past, what lesson would you extract from your experiences? Have you ever tried a symbolic ritual to let go of an emotional burden? Share your experience in the comments. What are the 3 things you are most grateful for today? List them. In which moments of your day do you feel most present? How can you expand this practice to other moments? Is there something in your life that you still resist accepting? How would it feel if you chose to accept it, even if you don't like it? Additionally, try this daily practice. Take 5 minutes each day to practice mindfulness. It could be during a walk, while drinking coffee, or before bed. Focus on your senses, what you see, hear, and feel. Say to yourself, I am here, at this moment, and that is enough. Your journey is just beginning. By embracing gratitude, presence, and acceptance, you are building a life of freedom and purpose. If you feel any positive impact while practicing these reflections, share your experience in the comments. Now you know that you don't need to carry the weight of the past or get lost in future worries. Everything you need is here, in this moment, in this now. Embrace freedom. Remember, freedom is a journey, not a destination. If this content resonated with you, why not take the next step? Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving insights on personal development, mindfulness, and transformation. Don't forget to like and leave your reflection in the comments. This not only strengthens our community, but also helps the Zen Path channel create more valuable content for you and others who need this message. And why not spread this inspiration? Tag a friend who might benefit from this journey. Together, we can transform lives and grow even more. If you want to dive deeper, I've prepared a special ebook on how to transform pain into wisdom. The link is in the first pinned comment. And don't stop here. Choose one of the videos on the screen to continue your journey of self-discovery and emotional freedom. Let's embark on this journey together. Your journey is just beginning. By embracing gratitude, presence, and acceptance, you are building a life of freedom and purpose.